Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. We all have experienced 1 minute of silence. Imagine about 8.5 million minutes, 145,000 hours, 6,000 days, or should I say 16 years of constant pain. With that kind of exposure, I believe I can shed some light on the subject of migraines. Nearly all headaches come from a single mechanism of migraine, which is built into us by nature and generates painful blood vessel swelling when activated by specific triggers. Triggers, which are mostly food-related, vary from person to person, and their level changes from moment to moment. Imagine triggers constantly entering the single mechanism of migraine. When the level of triggers is below the threshold, there are no symptoms. As the trigger level rises, symptoms start appearing, and when the trigger level keeps increasing, so do the symptoms. The understanding of triggers versus threshold in a lot of willpower is what helped me get over my migraines. It all started about 20 years ago in my last pregnancy, when I started feeling really sharp pains in my head. At times, it felt like somebody was squeezing the juice out of my brain. Very quickly, the feeling became frequent, and shortly after giving birth, my head was a constant battlefield. Suffice to say, from the first neurologist to the one before last, I was given every drug on the market for severe migraines. I'm sorry, I did this again. My pocketbook had been turned into a walking pharmacy. Every facet of my life was on hold. Have you all experienced a headache? All right. Imagine 16 years of haunting pain, day and night, and the only relief being for your migraine to turn into a headache. For 16 years, I raised my children with a resemblance of normalcy. I taught art classes. Because of drug side effect, I lost my short-term memory for 3 years. I was not Miss Babette to my students anymore. I was Dory, the very forgetful fish in Finding Nemo. I could not sit anymore because of all the shots I was getting every day. I became extremely sensitive to the heat. No more hot showers for me. Thank God we live in Florida. Every drug came with a package. The worst of it all being the fact that painkillers lead you to lose control and you become dependent on them. After 16 years, determined to give up on life, I heard about Dr. David Buchholz. I now understood migraines. I got off all my drugs, and even though Dr. Buchholz predicted 1 month of hell, I sped through hell on earth in 4 days and didn't even get a ticket for it. I now had to control my migraines by controlling my triggers. I had tried 3 months of no chocolate, 3 months of no perfume, 3 months of no wheat, etc., etc., but I did not understand the difference between triggers and threshold. Let me explain. One day I would eat chocolate, which is a very high trigger. But that day I didn't eat anything else that was a trigger, so I would not get a headache. Another day I would eat salad, which was sprayed with sulfite. At the time I did not know it was a trigger. A soup filled with MSG, again a trigger. And voila, I would have a migraine and didn't even eat chocolate. Go figure. The next logical step was for me to listen to Dr. Buchholz. I had to start from scratch. Remember, triggers are different from person to person. Therefore, I started with the safest bet, plain chicken with plain broccoli. 1 month went by, no migraine. Imagine, I could lay my head on the pillow. I could listen to children laughing, singing. I even attempted to laugh. I started to listen to music again. No migraine. I could have eaten chicken and broccoli for the rest of my life and be very grateful for it. However, I had to bring in new foods into my diet, which I did. I was very, very scared. I was petrified to be with pain again with no relief. Eventually, I did find out my triggers. And the great news is, I can eat chocolate. The really great news is, I'm like every other woman, 1 or 2 migraines a month. In conclusion, even though we all have a single mechanism of migraine, the understanding of triggers versus threshold combined with willpower will give you tools to overcome your migraines. And all I am left to say is, with great thanks to Dr. Buchholz, I am a migraine survivor.